Hey, this is JC here at JC's Comics and More, your pop culture superstore at 6725 West Central Avenue, that's Toledo, Ohio, 436-174-1953-1609. JC's Comics and More at hotmail.com, and then you can find the Facebook information in the description below. I'm not going to really say too much about this. We're doing doing kind of a tribute video on
Kentaro Miura,
and who of course did Berserk. And if you want to tell us a little bit of that, Matt, I want to make it a lot clearer so you're not quite so muffled too.
All right, so
yeah, that's better.
Before anything else, I would like to say, rest in peace, Kentaro Miura. Brilliant artist, writer, just outstanding. He inspired so many people. He's touched so many people. He will be missed.
How old was the man?
He was 52 or 53.
52 or 53.
So he wasn't very old. He'd been writing Berserk since, I think it was about 88, so about 33, 32 years. Just on one book. It was all him. He was training people to help pick up the pace towards the end, so it would have a more consistent release schedule. Unfortunately, that never came to fruition. The ending of Berserk is kind of up in the air. Will it end? Won't it end? No one knows, but there is hope. We will just have to see. But
now, how many volumes, current volumes, did he get up until?
Currently, in the tankobons, the very small, compact formats, it is about 34 volumes. So it's about 10 of these deluxe ones.
Okay, these are from Dark Horse, and those have, you said, 3 per?
Yes, they contain 3 per. Let me open up to the start of this here to show you. So, yeah, it explains which ones it contains and whatnot. This one contains volumes 13, 14, and 15 in here. But we're going to save this for later. This is a bit later. This has what is probably my favorite arc, but just a tiny bit more about Miura before we actually start going into Berserk.
Now, you said that there's 34. Is those 34 is the most recent one?
I think 35 is currently waiting to be published.
Okay.
Because each small tankobon contains about 10-ish chapters of the story. But, Kentaro Miura. He's born in Chiba City, the Chiba Prefecture. He was born in 1966.
Okay.
And for most of his life, he's been interested in manga, art, comics, just various different things of the artistic nature. And, a lot of this just explains most of his career, because, unfortunately, Miura was a very private man, for better or worse. There's not a ton of info, there's anecdotal stuff, but this right here talks about most of it, so I'll just go through it a bit.
Okay.
So his first manga was Miuranger, which created at age 10 for his classmates, and it went for 40 volumes.
Wow!
Like, just think about that. At 10, he was making a manga that lasted 40 volumes. Some people nowadays don't even get to do that.
That's a hell of an achievement at 10.
Yes, this man was incredibly talented from a young age, and, his talent only grew over time.
Now, real quick, is any of that work in print at all? Has anyone other than, say, like classmates ever seen that?
I believe that most of this has had a printing at some point or another. I am genuinely not 100% sure if other parts of it are in print. I know he has at least one other story that is in print, and that is actually Giganto Maxima, which was a standalone project that he did in 2013.
Okay.
And that's pretty much the only other thing he's done since starting Berserk.
Holy crap.
So, it originally started in what would become Young Animal. It was called Monthly Animal at the time, I believe, when Berserk started. And he was one of the premier artists in story.
How old was he at that time?
At that time, he was in his early 20s.
His early 20s?
By that time.
Okay.
And
Now, just real quick, going back
Yes.
to what he did when he was at 10, he did the 40 volumes. Any information as far as how long it took him? Was it something that he was still doing, say, through high school, or?
so that part doesn't actually have a lot of info. Like I said, he's very private for the most part. And there's not publication data for it, since it was just in, like, a school thing, but they did get published later.
So we're not
But-
even really sure what the story, the premise of the story was, or anything.
So I don't know offhand, but like I said, it was published, so you can indeed find out what the story was about. You can read it. It might be a little bit expensive to get a hold of it, but
Well,
you definitely can.
hopefully, maybe Dark Horse or maybe somebody will reprint that stuff. I think this,
I was
you know,
going to
this
say,
now
this is a perfect opportunity
opportunity.
to reprint some of his stuff that maybe people didn't know, because obviously Berserk is what he's mainly
Right.
known for. He did, like, a couple other things, again, not a lot, but I think it would be a good opportunity to reprint some of those. Let people know, like, Miura didn't only do Berserk. Berserk is the main thing he did, but he's tried a couple of different manga series.
Well, and to honor the man, it's like, okay, here's his beginnings.
Yes.
You know, and look at that and say, well, gosh, who would ever think, perhaps, by looking at that work, what he would then go on to do.
Exactly. But, just to quickly also talk about some of his influences. In '89, Miura collaborated with writer Bronson, who some people might know wrote Fists of the North Star.
Okay.
And he worked on a project called King of Wolves, and that was published in Animal House, which, that was what Animal Monthly was. So
Okay.
it was called Animal House, and they did a sequel in 1990. And then pretty much that was the last thing he did right before he started Berserk. And, they changed the name of the magazine to Young Animal right about when Berserk started coming out. And right around the start of the Golden Age arc, which is about 2 volumes in, so maybe like 20, 25 chapters into the story, that's when it started going like, alright, we're going to explore how Guts got to where he was, because the first 2 volumes kind of show, like, Guts is already here, this is who
So
he
that's
is.
the main character's name.
Yes. There's a bit of debate over what his official English translation is, because I believe in Japanese is Guts, which is Gaats, but it's been localized to Guts. There's a bit of a debate on which. Most people just go with Guts. It seems to fit the character really well, so we're going to be going with Guts.
Okay.
That seems to be the generally accepted. But, to give you an idea, Berserk has sold over 40 million copies just internationally.
Wow.
That does not include Japan, where it has sold probably about that number, maybe even more. It is
Christ.
a powerhouse of a series. Arguably, it's one of the highest selling. I think maybe only One Piece maybe even gets anywhere close to it. But, let's go ahead and just show some of his art.
Okay.
Get an idea of where he started. Now, this is volume 2, so I don't have where he started, but this is still a pretty good representation of exactly what his art started out as. Now, it looks good. Now, there's not a lot to critique about it. It's very good line work. He has good detailing to it. Everything looks really nicely in proportion.
And this character here is Guts.
This is Young Guts.
Young Guts.
Yes. So the story takes place shortly after his birth, when he was abandoned by his mom. I don't want to go into too
And
many
then what, raised by
details.
wolves then, I take it?
No. He was grabbed by the band of... Well, not Band of the Hawk yet, but there was a raiding group that he was a part of, and they kind of raised him. He had some unfortunate experiences during that. I will let you find out what those were.
Okay.
But, they get attacked, and he just runs for it.
Now, he has special abilities, or he's just...
No, that is the thing. By the time you get to where it currently is, the man's only like 20-something years old, and he has gray and white hair. He looks like he's been through hell, because he absolutely has. So, this is just, again, some examples of just a lot of the action that he draws. He's very good at sequential art, and here's one of the most important characters of all the series, Griffith.
Okay.
I've bookmarked a special page because Miura has no problem drawing very sexual things, very dark sexual things, but for some reason, I will never get an answer for this, he has drawn Griffith as a Ken doll. I don't know if it's because he's supposed to be very pure, so he does not have genitalia.
Well, I think in Japan, a lot of that is just very taboo as far as drawing.
Well,
I mean, the Japanese are very sexually repressed, and that's and they're male or female genitalia that
they censor a lot of things. However, Berserk is absolutely not like that.
Okay.
I could show it in this one especially. Miura is not afraid of drawing sexual things. He's not afraid of drawing rape. He's not afraid of drawing just disgusting, bloody murder and battles.
Battles aren't PG.
No. But yeah, you can just see
now that is
Casca.
Casca.
Yep,
okay.
She is one of the other main members of the story, and her role's pretty important. Here's actually a fantastic example. Just look at the beautiful hatch work that he has done on this.
That's incredible line work there.
This had to have taken him quite a while. And I just want to throw out, this was coming out, at this point, bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly. So how many pages or how many page count bi-weekly then?
Oh, God. You would get about 23, 24 pages per chapter.
Wow.
And yeah, this twice a month he was doing this. This was all the way up until, I think, pretty close to the start of volume, 14. He was doing this every 2 weeks.
Wow.
This level of detail, 100% him, all the inking, all the line work, all the writing, everything, 100% him. This man, he could do a lot of work, and it was just outstanding. Here we go. Nosferatu Zod. One of the more important villains.
Sort of a djinn demon or something of that sort?
Zod is... What is a good way to describe it? He's a demon. He can turn into a giant flying... God, I don't even know what to call him. But he has horns, wings. You might actually show it a little bit later here. But here's one of the sword fights between Guts and Zod.
And with Japanese artwork, it runs...
Yep. It goes this way, down, this way, down.
Now, how difficult when you start because the way your brain's wired and reading the American...
it definitely takes a minute. It's not too terribly difficult to get used to reading like that. Heck, I've accidentally read some pictures like that. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Wait, I need to read it this way. I'm reading in English. So every once in a while you'll mess up, but it's not too hard to get used to reading like this.
Wow, that's pretty amazing there too.
See if we can... there we go. That is that in his demon form. Just look at that. Entrails, blood. Super detailed, super beautiful looking.
And you look at this here as opposed to some of the other artwork, and at first glance it's like, well, this is a different artist. This is somebody else. It's not, it doesn't look quite the same. That it seems like he was able to, change his art style for whatever at that time needed.
Yes. He would definitely give some pages that are of great importance. Like, you want this to be a menacing shot. You want to show the power of Zod. So he put definitely more time into this. But the crazy thing is, later he gets, this is nothing compared to just a standard layout panel for some of his later stuff. His skill just grew immensely over time.
Oh, that's nice there, too.
Yes, the imposing shot, you really get a sense of scale.
This here reminds me a lot of Frank Miller. I wonder if he was influenced by somebody like some of the American artists.
He could have been, honestly, again. Just not a huge amount of info on him, but he did like comics as well, like American comics, so it's very possible he was influenced by, like, Frank Miller.
Because looking at this kind of reminds me of the Claremont Miller's Wolverine series. A little bit there.
Yeah.
And even this here to a lesser extent. It's just pretty amazing.
Alright, so we'll wrap up this volume here pretty soon. Here's Guts. He's a little bit older now. He's practicing with his sword. We haven't even gotten to his most iconic sword yet, which I'll touch on when we see it, and just how important that sword alone is to a lot of artists.
Now, real quick, this scene here, what does this represent?
So, I believe this is just, like, their thoughts, kind of remembering, oh god, yeah. Can't remember entirely. It's been a little bit since I've read part of this, I'll be honest.
Now, was there, like, a fallen comrade there that they're remembering?
So, I believe, if I remember correctly, this was, like, a fallen family member of his.
Okay, and that is...
He's just kind of one of the characters that comes and goes. He's a royal child, I believe, but he doesn't stay around for too very long.
Now, back there with Nosferatu, was that Guts that he had ripped apart, or was that something that was just...
That was someone else.
Oh, someone else, okay, just making
Guts
sure that Guts
absolutely
doesn't...
gets ripped apart, like, skipping forward just a little bit. There's a panel that, unfortunately, I don't have on hand, but it's one of my favorite. It's of Guts in the Berserker armor. His arm is bent backwards, completely broken. There's blood dripping all from out him. He's carrying the chunk of iron sword in just his right hand. It is beautiful. It's like, this man looks like he's going to die. But, yeah, just more of, just like a more serene image here. He can vary up a lot from a lot of blood and death to just very peaceful imagery of Griffith and Guts discussing things.
Okay. Oh, look, it's got Zod.
Yes, they talk about Nosferatu Zod. He comes
Nosferatu
a
Zod,
lot.
Yeah. Oh, that's very very beautiful piece there.
Yes, this
very
is
peaceful.
The princess that Griffith ends up getting involved with, and you know, you can see how that turns out for him, but that's most of what this talks about, is you can see that, Guts accidentally killed that child from earlier.
Well, that child probably took his, didn't let go of his ego.
That could be.
Took the last sparkly sprinkled donut.
But, this is also just, this is how Guts felt fighting Zod. Just horrified.
Wow.
He felt like a child at the time because, like, I've never fought against anything this strong before. But, yeah, just...
That's nice, too.
You can even see, like, just over the course of this, like, his detailing in, like, even some of the scenes just improves slowly over time as well.
Yeah, from the beginning of this issue to the end, you can just see where the artwork has improved, and just the line work and just the different line work to give different types of shading or of coloring certainly has.
And actually, related to the coloring, there are a few color pages, I believe. And yes, here we go. These are the covers to Volume 4.
Wow.
Volume 5. And Volume 6. He doesn't do a lot of colored work very often, but when he does, you can just see, like, the man understands coloring really well as well. Like... I really can't understate how much of a master of his craft that he was. Like, even at a young age, he really understood, like, where to put the detail, when, you know, this should be a bit more shaded to show, oh, this is in a darker spot. But, this is actually just, Guts with his Dragon Slayer.
Nice.
Which shows up in this. I can probably find it. But
now, just real quick, this image on the front here.
So yes, that is the brand. So
it almost looks like it's some sort of Norse runes.
So, without spoiling too much, what happens in the story is the eclipse happens. Guts is one of the few people to make it out, and he's branded with this mark. And what this does is it summons demons to him, at all times.
That he can control, or
No, that he has to fight off.
that he has to fight off. What a great thing! You got this mark on you. We're gonna send demons for you to fight. Maybe I can cut this mark out. Could I get a belt sander?
So, again, I don't want to spoil too much of the eclipse because this is like a very important part, but just some of the horrifying things that Miura draws. Like, I know there's a really good shot of just some of these disgusting creatures. Like, what is this? It has teeth for eyes. Like, these are nightmarish things. Like, It's real messed up. Like, oh my god, just look at Casca. Just carrying her dead friend.
And then you've got that. I mean, he doesn't have to draw anything else around it because he wants that the true focus to be on the image itself, and
Yes.
and not have anything else distract from that.
And then here we go. Here's Guts trying to fight his way out of this sea of monsters. And just look at the pure expression of just rage.
Rage and determination, yeah. And these things here, God, that's...
Like, as you can see, going from Volume 2 to this, like, this is just normal artwork for him.
And again, just the line work and to show the texture and just to convey that.
Can't show that.
That would be terrible.
But yeah, just, you can see the ferocity in this as well. It's very close-up shots, but you can feel, like, the movement, the intent to kill in each of these swipes. And there's our boy Guts, broken and beaten in a pool, bleeding. Just, there's a real beauty in the absolute darkness that Miura can create. Like, this is, like I said before, it is a series that is not for the faint of heart. It deals with a lot of very dark things, but there's a lot of serenity and beauty in the absolute darkness that he can convey. And then here are some of the God Hands.
Which are?
They are basically some of the Masters of Darkness. They help a certain character ascend and become Femto, the fifth of the God Hands. But as you can see, well, somehow got out of there.
Just this here again. This reminds me so much of Bernie Wrightson. That just the hat work and just the attention to detail.
So,
and the same with here too.
Perfectly, Dragon Slayer. So, as a quick side note, this is one of the first appearances of a sword that is like this. It is a mass. It's described as not even a sword, but a chunk of iron. No normal person should be able to wield this. It can butcher a dragon. It can kill anything. And Guts wields this by himself.
Wow.
This has inspired so many things, like the Buster Sword from Final Fantasy VII. It's already been said, like, yes, this was a massive inspiration for Cloud getting that sword.
Wow.
So just the sword itself, really iconic, really important to a lot of things. But, we're getting real close to what is one of,
Wow, so he lost?
Yes, I'm trying to spoil too much, but you're gonna kind of see it. Like, he ends up losing his arm, he loses his eye. He's still alive, though. But here
look
we
at
go.
that.
This is Prime Guts. This is how he is 90% of the series. Fueled by rage and determination to fix what is wrong and what has happened to his friends. Just, it's downright gorgeous. So.
And if we can just pause real quick, I'll take care of the people at the register and come back.